it's important to practice good hygiene, because if you want to go and run with my team, this fool's breath humming so bad, it'll melt your ice cream. Okay, so that's a little bit of Del the Funky Homo Sapien for you. Come on, anybody remember him? No? You gotta listen to some more obscure 2000s hip-hop. He was the guy in the Gorillas. Russell's Ghost, Rock the House. Come on, people. Anyways, I'm getting somewhere with this, I promise. I was listening to that song last night, and in the song, he sings Brimstone. Girls would never bring him home. So the guy actually smelled like brimstone, which we know from Shrek is a very foul smell. Either that, or the song is about me. Guess I'm never bringing any girls home. Thanks, Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Okay, that was just on my mind. I had to ramble about it somewhere. On with the actual video now. Hello, fairy tale things, and welcome back to my swamp, where we collect all things Shrek. A word of caution, though. Today's video may make you really hungry. It may even give you a sweet tooth for some ice cream, because we've got these Shrek popsicles. Although how tasty these may look, they are in fact not food. These are vinyl figures. Yeah, these are actually toys from CultureFly, who's made a bunch of Shrek stuff I reviewed on this channel. But yeah, this is definitely the most bizarre recent Shrek item I have seen. So I had to pick these up as soon as I saw them. I got these at my local GameStop. I actually recorded a whole little bit where I was feeling the little bags, because yes, these are blind bagged, where I was trying to feel out, which one did I say I wanted? Lord Farquaad? I don't even remember, but I can't even use the bit because there's loud music playing in the background of the GameStop. So please enjoy this footage with no sound as I yabble over it. But before we actually open these up, I do just want to talk a little bit about them and why I actually think they're kind of genius despite being so strange. So yes, these are plastic popsicles, vinyl more accurately. They're vinyl collectibles, and this could just be another way to sell us the same pop culture characters over and over again, like Funko Pops, and all the different ways they have repackaged our beloved characters, because these are not just exclusive to Shrek. They have this for every license under the sun. SpongeBob, Scooby-Doo, horror movies, anything. But I actually think Shrek is probably one of the better character choices for this format. So let me explain. Let's address the obvious. This is definitely playing off of the iconic character pops of the early 2000s. And I think the late 90s had a little bit of bleed over from that decade as well. SpongeBob, I would say, is probably the most iconic of these character pops, or Sonic. Sonic or SpongeBob, right? You're either one of those kids. But they made tons of characters. Like, I was doing a little bit of research, and the sheer variety they had in these at one point was crazy. There was like Danny Phantom. There was all sorts of obscure characters that really were only things in the 2000s. Like, check out these nostalgic photos and zoom in and see like how many of these characters are no longer a thing. Like, kids today don't know who these characters are. And I was looking at like, oh God, is the ice cream truck a thing of the past? Am I old for feeling nostalgic over these character pops? Because I did grow up with the ice cream truck. I am one of those kids that, yes, has that nostalgia. My family's apartment complex in Long Beach, California, like those early, formidable childhood years. I call them the Shrek years, because that's when I was fully into Shrek, was like, you know, that first decade of my life. That was when I lived on a main street that had an ice cream truck that patrolled. I can recall hearing that jingle and knowing it's the ice cream truck and running down the flight of stairs. It was really long, by the way. My family's apartment was like high up. Traversing those stairs, God, probably some of the first real steps I learned as a kid was learning how to climb those stairs down and up so I could get my ice cream. I definitely, like, photos like this, they really push those nostalgia buttons. And my ice cream of choice, by the way, was the lemon shark. I was big on the lemon shark. Apparently that's also like a thing of the past. Do they not make the lemon shark anymore? Please let me know in the comments if I sound like a crazy old man, because I swear the lemon shark was, I feel like I just had it yesterday, and like it was appearing on like subreddits for, remember 20 years ago today? And I'm like, 20 years ago? Oh my God, is the lemon shark that old? Jesus Christ. Anyways, yes, seeing these pushed that nostalgia button. As you know, I'm very nostalgic for the Shrek franchise. I grew up right, at the right time for the Shrek movies. And I think this format of collectible is best when it captures Y2K 2000s era characters. Shrek is perfect for this format because it reminds you of that era. When I think of the character pops, I think of being into Shrek. It was this period of my life. And some of these other character pops, they don't quite do it for me. Like, okay, I get Scooby-Doo, right? That's a big brand. And even though it's not a 2000s brand, Scooby-Doo did have a bit of a revival in the 2000s with the James Gunn movie. There was like What's New Scooby-Doo, right? The one with the great Simple Plan song. So even though that's not a 2000s brand, that makes sense, right? But then some of these, like, okay, the Back to the Future set, guys, this is not it. This ain't it, Chief. I'm not like this. Now, this set is not by CultureFly. I want to note that a lot of companies are doing this trend. This is not exclusive to CultureFly. Everyone's jumping on this Popsicle bandwagon and selling characters as Popsicles. And the Back to the Future set just baffles me because you've got no characters, so no Doc, no Marty, no George McFly or Lorraine. It's just like things from the movie, like the license plate and the logo. And I'm like, okay, one, it's 80s, and yeah, they had ice cream trucks in the 80s, but they didn't have like branded stuff like the 2000s had. So this theoretically never could have existed. And then the ice cream designs are too boring. They're too complicated. Not anything kids would have eaten. And the great thing about these ones is I could tell you just by looking at the packaging, these look like they could have been real pops sold in the 2000s. So even though they're not an actual thing that existed, there was no Lord Farquaad pop when the original Shrek came out, they bring that sense of nostalgia. I get what they were going for, and the vibe was successfully accomplished. So I think that's great. Now, a question on everyone's mind, was this ever real? Was there ever a Shrek pop? And I'm here to tell you that yes, in fact, there was a Shrek pop, and I even have, if I can get the camera right so it doesn't reflect light, I'll just hold it up. Yes, there was a Shrek pop. Let's get a close-up shot of that. So this is an unused sticker that would have gone on the side of an ice cream truck back in the day, promoting a Shrek character-themed pop from Blue Bunny, the company that made a lot of these character pops. And yep, it's exactly what it looks like, a classic nostalgic character pop of the Green Ogre himself. And I do not remember this one at all. If this had been around when I was getting ice cream, forget the lemon shark. Shrek's my best friend. Like, I would have got this every time. But this was a little late into the game. This sticker I have is actually dated 2012, which is, like, really late. In my mind, I kind of view 2013 as the cutoff for the 2000s. Yeah, I know, 2010. January 1st, 2010 is technically the end of the 2000s, but as far as, like, vibes and nostalgia go, I view 2013 as the end of the 2000s. It was the year I got a computer, so, I kind of stopped playing with toys. But the very start of the decade felt like holdovers from the 2000s. Like, you still had a Shrek movie, you still had some early Y2K Dreamworks flavor with Megamind. You know what? A Megamind pop. That would have looked great. His giant blue head as a frozen treat. That would have been excellent, but they didn't make that. They didn't make a lot of DreamWorks pops. I did find a photo, interestingly enough, that does have the Shrek pop, and it's also got a penguin from Madagascar. Now, it's labeled Madagascar 3, which would put this photo in 2012, which lines up with the date on my Shrek pop sticker. So it seems like, 2012 was like the one year we had DreamWorks character pops. Your pick of Shrek or Penguin. This is all just coming from my United States-centric childhood, because I grew up in the United States. Elsewhere in the world, you guys all had lots of Shrek pops. There were many different varieties of Shrek pops on ice cream trucks. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I am also curious, like, in other places, if the ice cream truck is the same ritual. You hear that iconic jingle, it patrols the neighborhood, and every kid just rushes towards it. I mean, I assume it is. Why wouldn't it be any different? One more thing before we open these toys. Price point, I'm a little iffy on. I paid $13.99 a piece at GameStop, which is not too bad. It's a little high. I have heard from some people that these are as high as $20 a piece at box lunch, and that is just jaw-droppingly bad to me. I don't know what's up with box lunch lately, but the prices just seem really high, and a lot of Shrek stuff that other retailers carry tend to be like super expensive at box lunch, so I would not be surprised if that word of mouth is true and these are as high as $20 in some box lunch stores. But I wouldn't pay 20 for them. 13, I'm a little on the fence still. You'll notice I only bought 2 here because my main gripe with these is that they're blind boxed, and yeah, I'm kind of over the blind box train. You know, cut back to the footage of me feeling those packaging. I really did, like, that wasn't just a bit. I really was feeling for 2 different pops. Like, I made sure that these 2 felt different, you know? I didn't want to end up with a double for $13.99. And I'm kind of over the blind box trend, guys. I don't know if it's oversaturation because of the Labubu craze that's been going on this year, but I feel like everything just has to be blind boxed. And, you know, back in the day when it was a toy that was a couple bucks, I thought it was fine. Again, as a kid, one of my nostalgic memories is Go-Go's Crazy Bones. Oh my god, I was so into these things, man. They were like $3 at the register, and you didn't know who you were getting, and I used to feel for the figures. And, you know, that's fun. The surprise element is fun. It's gambling, you know? It is what it is. But, you know, it's fun when it's a couple bucks and you never know what you're gonna get. But for $13.99, and some of these blind boxes go as high as $20 or even $50. I feel like it's gone a little bit too far. Like, I saw the Mortal Drones figures at GameStop, and I know I've said before on this channel, I really want to get some Mortal Drones toys and review them, but God, at $25 a blind box, like, I'd be spending $50 at that point to possibly get 2 of the same toy. I don't know how kids today are making it with these blind boxes. Like, when I was a kid, you know, the allowance was a holy item, and I was very selective with my toys. You know, you had to pick the right Star Wars action figure or Transformer, you know, because you weren't gonna get it back. And with blind boxes, like, you could spend your allowance on a toy that's exactly the same. So yeah, I know a lot of this stuff is aimed at the adult collector's market, but come on, kids buy this stuff too. Kids like to collect what's cool and what's hip, and if they see, you know, their favorite YouTuber adult like me opening this stuff, they want to rush out and buy it. But I do just want to give a word of caution, because I just don't care for this blind box stuff at all. I don't. I would always encourage you to just go online and buy the ones you want that are already opened. And if these were just sold in boxes, not blind boxed, I would have bought the whole set for this video. I would have bought them all. I would have dropped a lot of coin, and CultureFly would have had more of my money, because I do really like these, and I would love to have a full set of Shrek Popsicles here. But if I had bought the entire case, I mean, we're talking over $100 on Popsicles that would be doubles, because they don't even do full case assortments anymore. You know, it used to be a full case was guaranteed a complete set of the product. Even if they were blind boxed, you could at least order like a full case from Entertainment Earth and be guaranteed all of them. But these days, no, you're guaranteed zilts. So that is a real shame. You know, a word of caution if you do buy these. They are blind boxed. You may get doubles. I would say buy 1 or 2, have some fun with it. And you can kind of feel, but they all kind of feel the same. You know, big gumdrop eyes. Those are popsicle sticks. So yeah, we'll just find out now if I did get doubles or not. So let's flip the camera around and check out the Shrek Popsicle Meltz. Yeah, they're called Meltz. All right. So here's the bag. Nothing here to write home about. It's just a nice little bag that has all of the popsicles listed, and we can get Shrek, we can get Donkey, Puss in Boots, Lord Farquaad, Gingy, or Princess Fiona as an ogress. So some pretty solid character choices here. This is like the perfect lineup of Shrek characters. You know, sometimes we see Puss in Boots excluded from these lines, sometimes Lord Farquaad isn't there, and then often we have Princess Fiona only as a human. So this really is like the best of both worlds. We have a good lineup of characters across all of the Shrek films. And then we have a Chase 1 and a Chase 2 that are clearly a variant of Shrek and Donkey. I'm actually okay with that. I would have been pretty upset if they had made, like, I don't know, Dragon or Key Character a Chase. So, yeah, I don't think really there's any duds in this set at all. I would be happy with any of these. I actually think Gingy might display the best because, you know, he's already candy, so him as like a sweet frozen treat, you know, it just kind of makes sense. Look at this little graphic here of the Duloc boy, the little animatronic boy from the photo machine from the first movie, and it says, look for the Chase designs, and, you know, he really should be saying, keep off the grass and wipe your face, right? And he actually is on the grass. Look at that. They made little grass graphics. So that's really fun. Somebody who made this was clearly a Shrek fan. That's pretty interesting. But the Duloc boy is not included in this line. He definitely would have been a dud pick, but he's still a very interesting character, and I would like to see some new merchandise of that design because he's a very under-merchandised character. You know, they made a few things, but anyways, let's just get right to it. Who do you think it is? Last chance. I want Gingy. I've decided. Okay. Here we go. The big moment. Dun dun dun. Oh, it's a Donkey Pop. Look at that. Huh. Oh, it's pretty nice vinyl. You know, it's got some weight to it. Zoom in there. Check out those details. They really did get those gumdrop, gumball eyes real good. You know, not gumdrop buttons. But for Gingy, I guess they would be gumdrop buttons. But for Donkey, they are gumdrop eyes. And I mean, he really does look like the old character pops from back in the day. Like, they definitely captured the flavor, pun intended, of the popsicle designs. Although I will be honest now, looking at these, they're almost a little too clean. It would have been great if they looked a little off, because if you remember these pops, they never looked like the photo at all. They always looked way off. And I gotta give credit here to Nickelodeon, who made a SpongeBob set of these. Now there is a CultureFly set of these that's very similar. But I saw another company made this set, and they're all SpongeBob, and they're all messed up and melted. And I just love that so much, because that is like what those pops actually looked like. So I actually think it would be cool if they did, maybe as a chase, they did a version that was all messed up, maybe melted a little, he's dripping, but the gumdrop eyes not being even was like a staple. And if you look at them all here, you know, the gumdrop eyes are very even, very clean, right, as Shrek would say. Everything in Duloc's very clean, but, yeah, you know, not everyone would want a melted pop figure, so, you know, you'd have to make that to chase. But still, I think it would be charming and nostalgic. So, he does come with a base here that is some of the melt, so, you know, I did get what I wanted, in a way. And I love how it combines red, like some light red with gray. Is that supposed to be like the gumdrop eyes, like brown, like different colors mixed together? I guess it could just be like, you know, lighter browns from the mohawk and the gumdrop. But, yeah, so you stick that there, right? And then he displays like so. But it does say there's like another way to display, right? Yeah, let's check that out. So we could do it like this, or we could do it, is it the ear? Does the ear clip in? Oh, wait, it just kind of, right? How does that, it doesn't really, two ways to display, but it doesn't really click. Maybe it goes the other way. Wait, no, wait, no, what the heck? Okay, so that does not work. I don't know if it's just Donkey, because his ears are weird, and he's, like, weighted, but he has only one way to display. He displays like that. But, you know, it's cute. It's a nice little desk toy if you wanted a Donkey popsicle on your desk. It's a very strange product, but it is strange, but oddly satisfying is how I would describe these. Ooh, that is good. I should put that on the thumbnail. Yeah, they are oddly satisfying. I do quite like these a lot, even if I'm not the biggest fan of blind boxes and the price point. Oh, look at this, guys. Look at this. I actually pulled a Shrek. Wow. So I have Shrek and Donkey. Easily the most displayable pairing I could have got, you know. Would have been a little weird if it was like Farquaad and Puss in Boots, right? Two characters that never interact. But Shrek and Donkey. Wow, the two iconic leads of this franchise. That is crazy. And yeah, the Shrek Pop is really cute. Look at that. He's got a little bite taken out of him. They all do, actually. That's fun. I didn't mention that, but I think that's fun. The bite taken out is cute, but if the bite was taken out, they would have been a little melted. Again, just a little off-center of the eyes would have made these go a long way and being a lot more charming, but who am I kidding? These are very charming. Shrek is really cute here, and they did a good job of making, like, the nose and mouth graphics very simple to where these could have been put onto ice cream. Like, it is believable, yes. This could have been something that was sold back in the day. If you're curious, now that we actually have Shrek in person, we can do a comparison and see how he compares with the actual pop. And you know what? I think they did a pretty faithful job. That looks exactly like the pop that was sold. Okay, so the gumdrop eyes aren't blue, and the cheeks are a little bigger, but I think if they had copied Blue Bunny's design exactly, they might have gotten sued, right? Because Blue Bunny developed this ice cream, and this is not an ice cream from an ice cream company. It is a toy by CultureFly attempting to replicate the nostalgia of 2000s ice cream. And again, I think they did a successful job. This is easily one of the stranger Shrek toys I covered on this channel, but it taps into that Y2K nostalgia in a way I can't explain. It's almost a perfect product, If you had told me they would be making Shrek Popsicle toys this year, I would have told you that sounds like a terrible idea. Sometimes, even the most ridiculous sounding ideas have really good execution, and I gotta commend CultureFly. They made a great lineup here, and because the likenesses are soft, I mean, they're literally soft serve, pun intended, but because the likenesses are soft, they don't have to be super accurate to the movie. They could look a little off and a little goofy, so, you don't have to have top-tier sculpting, But whoever did sculpt these, they did a very commendable job. They certainly captured the spirit of these ice creams. And now I'm curious, can Shrek display both ways? So here is display method 1. He's got a little bit of brown mixed in from the gumball eyes. Nice touch. And then display method 2. Wait, hang on. There we go. I guess you just kind of position it like so. Yeah, like that. The ears actually lock right in here. So this one can display like that. If you want a little variety in your display. But yeah, with Shrek and Donkey, I mean, these are going to look really cute displayed on the shelf. They're definitely different and unique, and they stand out in a Shrek collection. And that's really all I can ask for is a way to reinvent these characters that I have so many of in my collection. A lot of these toys just get drowned out. I like for them to stand out and be a conversation piece and something different. And these really push, they push all the right buttons for me. I'll be honest, they really do. They're very nostalgic. The execution is pretty nice. They're different. So yeah, this is a win. This is a win, CultureFly. I do actually like these. I would consider buying another. I'm just not the biggest fan of that blind box format. If they made a set that was like, $60, $70 where you got one of each, you don't even have to include the chase, I would buy it. I would buy that in a heartbeat. But I get it. Kids these days like blind boxes, and sometimes I can be an old, out-of-touch ogre. Such is life. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like this idea of pop culture characters as popsicles? Would there be any other licenses you think would be, like, perfect for this format? And yeah, will you be picking some of these up as a Shrek fan? I would love to know what you have to say, but thanks for watching, and as always, from the delicious kingdom of Far, Far Away, and God, I actually think I'm going to get a popsicle after this video, because I have a surprising sweet tooth now. Just looking at these makes me want to lick up something sweet. So, thanks for watching, and as always, have a happily ever after. A huge special thanks to my super swampy supporters, Jay Bipper, Antonio Bocina, Sailor Laws, Don Tizzle, M, Artyom, Aaron, Pizza Topping, Bill Usta, Bonzario, Shotgun Justice, Jamie, Tucker Time, Telephone Wire, Griffin Newman, SMO3, Jidjip, The Luke Rosati, Pladley, and J. Florence Jones. If you'd like to see your name up here, consider a YouTube membership for only 99 cents a month, but a huge special thanks to you for watching the video all the way until the end.